Hello, welcome to The Walking Dead episode or season 5 episode 3 room with 4 walls and a roof recap. My name is James Turnipseed. I hate to say it, but I was disappointed in this episode. It starts off with the hunters because they devolved into hunters, and remember they would do it to anybody. They're eating Bob still. Bob's tears become to laughter because this half of this whole episode, so about 30 minutes of this whole episode, is basically 3 or 4 pages straight from the comic book. What do I mean by that? Okay, in the comic book, Dale gets taken off, kind of the same way they did to Bob. What do the hunters do? They cut off his leg and eat it. What happens? His sobs become to ha 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 ha. You're eating tainted meat. I was bitten, you stupid fucks. He didn't say fucks on TV because you can't say that. He said pricks. Shows them the boo boo. They freak out and spit it out. For some reason, they're hanging out behind the elementary school where there's a boatload of zombies outside pushing on the glass. The glass eventually cracks. Later in the episode, Sasha showed more emotion the whole time in this episode than she did the whole time they were on the road, separated from her brother Tyrese. Okay. Why? Because they were eating Bob and Bob is dying. They throw him back on the front of the church, back on the churchyard. They all run out and get him, and the hunters marked A on the church, like they did in the train cars. They had an A train car and a B train car. So Abraham wants to take Eugene and Rita to Washington because they're still doing that. They're still trying to go to Washington. They get into an argument between Rick and Abraham because they fixed up that bus behind the church and they're gonna take it. Rick says you're not taking it, and then for some reason Glenn and Maggie say we'll go with you if we wait for a day for Carol and Daryl. That's a hard one to say. They agree to it for half a day, 12 hours. Then they go to, or you get a Father Gabriel, the priest. He tells his story of how, and because if you remember from the previous episode, somebody called you'll burn for the carved, you'll burn for this neatly on the side of the church, tiny but neatly. You figure out, he tells his side of the story, which also happened in the comic book. Early on, people came to the church for sanctuary, for safety, where they felt safe. He always locks the doors at night, so the doors were locked and he didn't unlock them, and they were pounding on the shackles, on the hinges, on the thing, saying, you'll burn for this, damn you to hell. And then he breaks down, and I always lock the doors, I always lock the doors. And my first thought, because you heard people screaming, they're getting torn and stretched because they're shouting and screaming and yelling brought the walkers. So my first thought was, how do you have the time to carve you'll burn for this on the side of the wood, on the side of the church, while everyone around you is getting eaten by zombies, and you still have time to write you'll burn for this on the side of the church. He then says he buried the bodies and everything. And then they go to attack the hunters in the middle of the night, because hey, that makes sense, right? So they go to attack the hunters, but they gave them the slip. If you're European, you will know what that means. Basically, they, Rick, Abraham, Michonne, and Sasha left the church, started walking down the street towards the elementary school because it's only 10 minutes away. The hunters come in, break in, There's Carl with his gun pointed at the door. They have Eugene, the priest, Bob, Tyrese, and I forget who else. I think that was it on Judith. In the room, the hunters are slowly walking through the church, looking for them, saying, you know we're here, we know you're here, so don't hide. He names all the names, and they said to the priest, you tell us which drawer they're in and we'll let you go with the baby. He doesn't say anything, baby cries. They said maybe we'll keep this kid, kinda like her. And they're gonna go, they have their guns pointed at the door, and it looks like they're gonna shoot in the door, and we're gonna have a shootout between that group and the hunters. Nope, you hear a sniper, boom, blood splatter all over the wall, and it's Rick walking towards me. He says, drop your weapons and get on the floor. The main one does it, except for the guy that was with Tyrese and Carol and the baby, which is why I am disappointed in this episode. He acts like a hard ass with his hood and his hat on, like fucking hipster kids do, and he's like, no, I'm not going to. And then Abraham shows up with a shotgun and he says, you want to make a bet? And then the guy does it, but this is why I'm disappointed. So, he put his hands on Judith and was gonna like break her neck in the previous episode. Tyrese freaked the fuck out, beat the shit out of him, right? If you watch the Talking Dead after it, he said that guy would have been bleeding out of his ears because they showed him at the with the hunters when they first showed up and they were eating Bob at the end of the episode. But Tyrese had full mount, throwing down a hammer fist on him, saying, I won't, I won't, I won't, I won't, I won't, at least 10 times before faded to the outside, and he's still screaming, I won't, I won't, I won't, and you hear thud, thud, thud. This guy has no damage on his face, no nothing. He's perfectly 100% fine. You're getting too big for your britches, Walking Dead. I think at least that's a couple slip-ups you made in this season, and I'm disappointed in it. Now, I'm not being super negative, because I'm a big fan of the comic book, and I'm excited still, and I still watch every episode. I'm just getting a little disappointed. Here's how this episode ends. Michonne's outside. Oh, Michonne got her sword back, because Rick macheted the guy's face. Sasha stabbed the guy repeatedly in the chest who grabbed the baby, and Abraham hit another guy with the butt of the shotgun. So this how it ends. Michonne pulls her sword out, gets back. She didn't really want it back. I'm getting to the end. Just be real quick. Abraham, Eugene, Rita, Glenn, and Maggie leaving the truck. Abraham gives Rick the map to where they're going with the thing, and then he put the apology, sorry I was an asshole, come to Washington, blah 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 blah. But the new world's gonna be better. Bob died. They had a heartwarming moment with everybody, and he thanked Rick for showing him there are still good people in the world. Tyrese is like barely. Sasha told Tyrese earlier in the episode when he dies with the Steward's Temple. When he died, he barely went like, not even like, just. So that's another thing. Wow, that went in pretty easy, huh? And then Rick talks to Tyrese about, well, you never told me about how getting to Terminus was for you, and he said it killed me. They're digging a grave for Bob, and he said no, it didn't. It's nighttime now. Michonne's outside with her sword, sitting on the porch, where you can tell she really didn't want the sword back. Gabriel comes out, the priest, to sit and talk with her. He talks about how he hears them screaming still, and she says, oh, that won't go that won't go away. It just doesn't happen all the time. He walks back in because they hear something snap a twig. She walks over to see what it is, real slow, and Daryl walks out, and she's all happy, and she says, "Where's Carol?" He says, "Come out," and it's over. So that was the episode. They go back fast. Uh, like for an hour TV show, it goes by pretty fast, but there is a whole lot of commercials. So if you're watching this, check it out when it comes out on Blu-ray, DVD, Netflix. They always play them again on AMC before the new season starts. They always show a long marathon of the whole series. So if you have Netflix, just wait a little bit and you could catch up and watch all of them. So yeah, thanks for sticking through this whole video if you made it to this point. Peace.